But Daniel, you're back online with
Hey.
us. Daniel from Canada, what's up?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you
Can
now.
you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
We got you.
No, no, about that alien the NASA report, I just said that all they're really saying is there's no evidence that it's aliens, but at the same time, they don't know what it is. So that's all the report seems to be saying. And who cares?
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't read it, but that sounds like something NASA would put out. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like a waste of time to me. It sounds like something I would have told you.
I mean, it was pretty similar to what the Pentagon said about, to what the DoD said about the Department of Defense, because they essentially said the exact same thing, is that there were a few of these that, like, many of them they can debunk, but there were a couple of them that were intriguing because they weren't, they was like, that's interesting technology. That's not ours. We don't know what that is, but we're not going to go out and say, it's aliens. We're not going to take the History Channel position on that.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, no,
true.
I think it might be aliens.
Really?
But
yeah.
Yeah.
I know you think it might be aliens, Daniel. I know you've called into this show before. I know. Yeah. I know you believe. In your heart.
I'm curious. So I have a question for you, Daniel. If it's okay, if I can ask.
Sure.
Okay, so looking at the mathematics, like the mathematics of the universe, right? So the position that I've always held on that is that the mathematics of the universe virtually guarantee that we are not alone, but they also virtually guarantee that we'll never meet anyone else. Just the vast distances, the limitations of biology, the extraordinary technology that required to cross these vast distances. If for a species to come to for an intelligent species to come from another planet to us would essentially necessitate overcoming biology, so that age is not a factor, or overcoming the limitations of physics, a new area of physics that we don't yet understand or don't have access to. So to kind of like broach into science fiction, like what Star Trek and other things do. So I'm kind of curious, how do you reconcile that?
Well, I think that you may be wrong in your assumption that the aliens have to be from another part of the solar system. Maybe they're in our own solar system already. I have a theory that they are. My conjecture is that they are already in our solar system. There's NASA and JPL photographs of planets and moons throughout the solar system. The surfaces are always very blurry, and there are a number of anomaly channels where they use Photoshop to take away the blur and see what seems to be what the blur seems to be covering up. And it seems to be that there are structures on moons and planets throughout our solar system. And I contend that they are advanced civilizations that use the planets, the inside of the planets. They're not indigenous to the planets. They came here a long time ago. I think solar systems die, stars explode or whatever, they go supernova. So I think if a civilization a technological civilization advances further enough, I think you have to leave your solar system because the star's going to collapse or whatever, because there's stars going to go supernova. And I think if you get far enough in advance in your technology, you can move around the solar system by living in planets and moons and creating your own environment on the inside of these planets and moons.
Yeah.
And I think they came to our solar system. And I think that explains the UFO phenomenon for the last 75 years.
There you go, JL. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
the reason why I'm not surprised, JL, is because Daniel's called in before. This is not the first time. Daniel knows my take. Obviously, he knows I disagree.
Yeah, I was going to let you take the lead because I have
we've had this conversation. We've had this. You can have this conversation if you want, but I've said my piece on the matter. Go ahead, feel free.
So I hold to it. While I understand and I'm familiar with some of the stuff that you may be referencing, like the recordings of supposedly came out of Neil Armstrong when they were on the moon, and there are certain intriguing things that I obviously pick, like there are images of like other moons, especially around Jupiter, that I'm pretty sure I know what you're referring to, like the blurry images and those where it looks like squares of them were taken out. So I understand that, and I get where you're coming from on that. I think it's a bit of a leap to go from a photograph that we've seen that we don't know, the context of why it may look like that, or it may be for whatever reason, photography came out with a bad image. Obviously, I think stellar photography in the past, has come a long way in the last 5 years. But, when you're going like 20, 25, 30 years back, stellar photography was not fantastic. The James Webb is the big advancement that we've had recently. So I still have to side with the mathematics of it, that interstellar travel it would be a major, major thing, because we're talking about faster than light.
We don't think of like Arthur C. Clarke, the statement by Arthur C. Clarke. Any significantly advanced technology is going to seem like magic to us. Imagine the technology of a civilization that's centuries ahead of us, 1,000 years ahead of us, 1,000,000 years ahead of us. We have no idea what that could do, how they could travel around the solar system. I just think that's an unknown, right? And I think even what's the theoretical physicist, Maku, I forget the guy's name, a Japanese American, I think.
Michio Kaku?
Yeah, Michio Kaku.
Yeah, Michio Kaku.
Yeah.
He posed that question on a show, like on one of these Discovery shows. I agree with you about those shows. They're all the ancient astronauts.
Michio Kaku is on his, first of all, Michio Kaku is on his string theory grift. Okay, I'm not calling him a grifter. I'm just joking. But he's on that string theory. That's a whole other thing. All right. Yeah, okay. Don't get me started on string theory. I don't know enough about it to comment on it. But
predominantly, Daniel, I fall in the deals. Like if you a significantly advanced civilization, like especially an intelligent species, coming to our planet, given that level of intelligence and that level of technological mastery, there seems to be, to me, this may just be my opinion, but I'm just looking at when doing surveys, when doing if you're reconnaissancing another planet, or if you're like an intelligent species coming to another planet just to check it out, like, ooh, look at these primitive life forms, let's record them for study. There would be no service done in us glimpsing them, and them letting us see us, especially in such a primitive, considering the technological difference, because all that would do would serve us to incite panic and fear and just discord, because now all of a sudden people are seeing things, and then you cause this is the whole premise behind Star Trek, in the idea that there is no non-involvement, because you don't want to affect a civilization in that respect. So I have
a counter for you, JL. Okay. I'm gonna interrupt you. Okay, because I've heard this argument from other skeptics, and I like to play advocate here. Okay, I like to play devil's advocate on this, because I am fundamentally stupid. I'm a dumb guy. I'm a himbo at best. But I can drive a car. I don't know how to build a car. I could tell you that's an engine and there's some fluid and that goes in there. I can't tell you anything about it. And I can crash that thing tomorrow, but I'm legally allowed to drive it. Right? I'm assuming if there's aliens out there and they got the tech to come visit us, I'm not saying there's drunk teenage aliens that are doing their thing around here, but I'm saying they could make mistakes too, right? There's variance within the species. There is another human being that helped invent the space shuttles to get to the moon. And there's other human beings that invented new mixes for tequila that just get everybody wasted and don't contribute to humanity at all in a cultural respect, rather. So it's I think there's enough variance in the possibility of aliens that some of them could just be fucking with us or could have just fucked up. I think that's possible. What do you think?
I think that when you automatically define these things as having such a vast separation of technology, not to mention our technology, but it also be our physiology. So we're talking about such an incredible swath in between them and us that I think it is an error to assume or to even begin to look at them as that they would operate in any way similar to us as far as reasoning goes, especially when you can view the universe in a way different, fundamentally different than we can. If you're viewing the universe from a fourth dimensional perspective, if you want to go into dimensionals, they can literally move through time in that respect. So if you want to look at it from that, that perspective on the universe of viewing the universe like that fundamentally alters how you interpret everything. And so
that's true.
Coming to the conclusion that they could conclude things the same way as us, I think is a giant error. It's assume that they would do the things similar to what we would do. Now, I'm just saying from one intelligent species to another semi-intelligent species to a more primitive species like us, there's only I can only fathom two reasons why there would be an interaction. One, show up and interact with us, or show up and study us, but don't reveal yourselves to us, because revealing themselves could be detrimental and could alter things in a way that could be.
Oh, I'm not saying. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm just saying my cat has no idea that I'm live streaming to several hundred people right now, and there's a thing called the internet, right? And it's like, but like, you know, I'm still here, right? Just because my cat can't comprehend it, and that doesn't mean that, I don't know, aliens can't do some weird stuff. But I agree with you, though. I think it has to be like interdimensional. It has to be like beyond our dimensions to come in here, or intersolar, which is this is Daniel's take, which is interesting, because it's either we're in a simulation and they can like access us on the inside, or it's an interdimensional thing. They're on a higher plane of existence, or they're in the solar system. And that's what makes Daniel so interesting, because if they're in the solar system, Daniel,
do you have a hypothesis as to where they may have? Do you have a hypothesis, Daniel, as to where they may have originated in the solar system?
Mars.
No. I just, like what you just said, I believe what is happening, that they're studying us and they're not revealing themselves to us. And I think the government knows it, and they can't reveal it to us either. Because I think, would you not agree, JL, that an advanced technological civilization coming in contact with us is going to cause a lot of problems for our civilization? I think it's big. I don't know what will happen.
I disagree. I disagree. I'm not that cynical on the topic. An advanced civilization I don't take the Hawking route. I don't side with Stephen Hawking. With Stephen Hawking on that. In that, that it would lead to destruction, because he was taking what happens here on Earth and assuming that an advanced civilization would operate the exact same way. So, like, you know, when the conquistadors came over and subjugated the indigenous Americans of South America and Mexico, I don't believe that would happen. I'm not inclined to believe that, because I don't think they would operate the exact same way as us.
But wait, hold on. I gotta play devil's advocate again here. I gotta steal man Daniel's point. I think, and Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not necessarily saying the aliens would do something. Rather, it's a human response, right? Like, it's a public safety measure, right? Because like we could still have mass panics or mass hysteria about events, and people could do irrational things, right? Is that what you're saying, Daniel?
Yeah, or like I said before, maybe they have technology that could give everyone like a little device that could power your home and power your car and do all these wondrous things for us. But at the same time, maybe if you had some little scientific skill, you could turn it into an atomic bomb or something. They couldn't trust us with this technology. That's my point. Because last time when I called you last time, you titled the program, "The Aliens Are Too Complex for Us." I don't think they're too complex for us. I think it's our penchant for war and our penchant for cruelty. And that's what I think is why they're just studying us.
I wouldn't trust my cat with the internet.
Have full contact.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that given a level of advancement like that, I do not think that would be, because they could. I mean, obviously, if they came to us and were giving us technology, they were violating the Prime Directive in that respect. Then they could control. They could control how we could utilize that technology. You can. I mean, when you have that level of mastery of whether it be physics or whatever, you know, essentially you're like technology that verges on like magic. Okay. Yes, they could give everybody replicators, and just to use the Star Trek reference, they could give everybody replicators. Now everybody has free food because it literally pulls the energy out and just formulates it there. Fan-freaking-tastic. Everybody's got that. Now, yeah, we might tinker, we might mess with it. I have no idea, but they could also control how they give us that tech, and how we could have access to it. So we're talking about that level of advancement, that extreme level of advancement. And I'm not cynical enough to think that they would come here and hurt us or harm us or destroy us, or there would be a natural kind of like overtaking. I think it would be an exchange of knowledge. And I don't think that humanity, I agree that there would be pockets of people that would freak out because obviously aliens coming in, extraterrestrial organisms coming in would challenge the whole notion for some people that humans are, like central in the universe, that we are the most important thing. Obviously, that changes the paradigm quite a bit. But I think as a whole, human beings actually would be awestruck to that degree because a giant question has just been answered. And in the wake of that answering, obviously there will be more questions, but that is a massive question. Are we alone? That knowledge right there is enough to unify the entire, is enough in my mind to unify the entire planet under a common banner. We are now humans amidst a universal society. There's at least one more out there. And that is a massive thing because that's a huge step that we need to take. That answers a lot of questions. So
by the same token, though, I mean, like, it's like, I'm giving you a hard time tonight, JL. I'm really sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm giving you a hard time with this, but it's like, look, you say that we can't assume the predilections of aliens, right? We don't know what they're going to be like because we can't make it based on humans, right? And I agree with you. So they may not be warlike.
Like Independence Day. I don't think
Independence Day.
That's silly.
That may be true, but also like we could just as well say that the other way, right? We could just say, oh, but that also means they could just be totally warlike. And we don't know. They could be, right? Like, there's no reason to think why they wouldn't be. Like, they would just be
more along the lines of Arrival with Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner. That was like, we're talking about like a species so fundamentally different from us that their means of communication, their biology in and of itself, their methods of technology are just like incomprehensible in order to bypass either the biological limitations or the technological limitations of traversing space. True. Now, I agree. Now, that's why I like this idea of intersolar system. Intersolar, like here in the solar system, like maybe on like, Ganymede or Io or Europa or something of that nature. That's why I was curious. Is like where he was going with that. Does he hypothesize it came from Jupiter's moon? So,
but to JL, to cows and chickens, we are extremely complex, and we are also the greatest invaders and the greatest killers of their species, right? More than any other force on Earth, and yet we are more they can't even comprehend our abilities. I'm just saying, if we could just be the next cattle for alien conquerors. But
I'm not on the V side. I'm on the Arrival side. That's the one, and not the Charlie Sheen one. Even though I love that movie, I'm on the
Mexican Congress validates my research. You will rue this day, JL Warren, and I'll make sure of that. So anyway, Daniel, sorry to cut you off there. I know you probably had some more of this stuff to say, but we got to wrap things up.